Is somebody gonna match my freak?
That's basically what Min Heejin said for like a year. Hi, we are.
NoonaTalk.
I'm Zara.
And I'm Sophia.
After a month, hello, Sophia Stans. She is back. She is here. It has been a long time waiting. Today, we are breaking down all the very many things that happened with Min Heejin, who is the CEO of Adore and Hybe, and what happens to the future of New Jeans. And genuinely, after everything that happened with 50-50, I'm really invested in seeing what happens with New Jeans.
I agree. And I think because Min Heejun is such a character, I kind of am even more invested in this.
Before we get into all of that, we are Noona Talk, a podcast where we talk about K-pop, K-culture, K-drama. We are also K-influencers for 2024, and this month's mission is all about the Heung of Korea. I'm 100% mispronouncing it for the second time in a row, which is basically the excitement, high spirits. And honestly, nothing's got my spirits as high as this, like,
Case.
entire escapade has.
Yeah. Like, what was your first reaction when you read about it? Like,
When I first read about this, I thought it was fake news. I
okay.
didn't believe it was real. I was like, oh, this is just something that's going on to like reduce hype stocks because, of course, the way hype has skyrocketed in the last like decade has been insanely fast. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure there are competitors out there trying to, bring them down. What
Yeah.
about you?
I love controversy when the SM issues were happening. I know everyone was suffering, but personally, I was thriving. I love K dramas. I love K-pop K drama is what it is. And like Min Heejin is such a character. New Jeans has been like literally we have talked about them so much. They've been the biggest like thing for so long that it's very exciting now to be like, oh my god, what's gonna
Are we
happen?
terrible people?
Yes, but also corporate drama. But and like with someone like Manheejin, who let's be honest, she is also here for the drama because she has come from the SM school of drama.
I didn't know enough about Menhejan before this. I knew that she'd come from SM. I knew she was, of course, heading Adore and had created New Jeans. And of course, had like a lot of participation in Layover, which is Tay's solo album. Um,
Which
I
she
think just
shaded him for later. Like, can we also acknowledge that?
the way. I mean, I was already like not very happy with Layover. Go back and watch our review and deep dive into the album. So you know that I wasn't like all for Minheejin, but I didn't know anything about her beyond this. So
Hmm.
okay, let's try to explain
Begin at the
what
beginning.
kind of happened. Yeah, preliminarily.
At some point, we read that Hybe is investigating Minheejin for an attempted coup. Then happened my favorite thing, which is that she has a shaman bestie who and they leaked texts between Minheejin and the shaman bestie who was like, a BTS is gonna be a downfall and that is opportunity for you. And Minheejin was like, I was just like talking smack about my boss that everybody does, and it's not that big a deal. And then they sued her, but turns out Minheejin was right, and they didn't have enough ammo against her to prove that she was planning a coup. And then there are rumors that their external SM influences planted her to take down Hype, which, if that is true, I have a lot of
That's
respect for
a
SM.
long game.
Yeah, like respect max. But I
Yeah.
guess to her point, she felt that New Jeans was her baby and she's the reason why they are that big a thing. And that Hype basically took her creative direction and applied it to, sorry, what?
Illit.
Illit. I didn't even want to say it, but anyway.
I don't even think that's how it's meant to be pronounced. I watched somebody's
Islet.
video. Yeah, I heard I
Oh,
lit.
okay. So, yeah, so there's Illit, then there's like slander against
Rise,
this the
TWS, and
Seraphim.
Rise as well.
Oh yeah, that too. There's some Seraphim issues. There are a lot of issues that Menhejan felt like she wasn't respected and her creative direction wasn't given the same level of acknowledgement in Hype, and that even when New Jeans was like doing really well, which they were, Punk PD wasn't very happy about it. And so she felt that she needs to take her baby and go somewhere else where she can be in a better position. And between that, there was all the random things like Minji posting posters of Espa, Karina all over Hype, which I'm just like, what?
Yeah, this we are recording this episode not even a whole day after New Jeans has just dropped their Supernatural MV.
Hmm.
So clearly there is a comeback plan that is being followed through. Um,
Which
okay,
is also followed with controversy.
which is mired with controversy, and I think that's definitely going to impact the comeback.
Hmm.
But okay, I can't tell if it's going to be negative or positive, because
Mm-hmm.
out of curiosity I think a lot of people have come over and like tried to find out who New Jeans are. But
Hmm.
also I don't know what plays out and how, like, do they go to like Mnet to perform, not Mnet, sorry, what is that thing called where they go, Music Bank to perform or not, things like that, where I'm just
Hmm.
curious, how does the promo for this album and these songs happen? Do they follow through? Because there's also been a lot of things about New Jeans suing and trying to get ownership, and I mean Heejin trying to shop around for somebody to buy Adore out of Hybe.
Hmm.
What do you think happened between Min Heejin and Hybe and Bang Shiok and everyone?
I think as an independent woman professional that I have a lot of respect for women who are like their CEOs in their own um containment. I don't think anybody in this scenario is like doodh ka dhula. I don't think anyone is without blame, and I'm sure like things probably weren't easy for her. I don't want to say that her slander of other artists and stuff under Hype is justified, but I do think her standing up for herself and wanting to create a space where she can thrive, I don't see that as a bad thing, unfortunately. I think that
It's not unfortunate, it's
yeah, I,
fine.
I think that go girl, get that bag, like do it.
Yeah.
It's fun, whatever. I don't think Hybe is like some oh my god, they're so nice and she's being so mean to them. And like if she created like if I am under a company and I created something incredible and I feel like I'm not being adequately compensated and acknowledged for it, why should I not leave and start something new? Like, do you know like the
Mhm.
guy who left OpenAI literally started his own AI company 3 days ago for ethical AI, which I don't think is gonna work out. But like it's not in it's not uncommon. I don't think it's a bad thing. I do think what sucks is that there are a lot of like children involved in this, children who are in the spotlight who will be bearing the brunt of a lot of it, which is not okay.
Mm.
But I don't. I'm not hating. You know. What about you? Whose side are you on?
I don't think I have a side specifically. I think
Mm-hmm.
both are not equally at fault, but there is blame in both parties. I think
Mm-hmm.
this is a very good indicator of Asian culture. I think things like showing her dependence on the shaman as her being unstable or something like that, which is such a bizarre thing because we come from South Asia. Belief in
Right.
spirituality and all of
Mhm.
that is very, very strong. So it's not necessarily an absurd idea that somebody does have a shaman friend who advises or helps. Complaining about your boss, I'm sorry, isn't that like what you're trained for in life? We all do it. um and like you said, like, I'm sure they must have created an environment for her to feel uncomfortable and feel like she wasn't being appreciated or compensated or whatever it is. Even though, I mean, I don't agree with the thing where she says, wherever she's compared illit eyelit, and New Jeans is the comparison that she's made, I don't agree because it doesn't
Mhm.
feel like that's enough to warrant such a reaction. Similarly, how she's like, "Oh, I gave Bang PD the idea for BTS," and I'm not comparing New Jeans or BTS in terms of talent and skills, but just in terms of PR and management, you can't.
And
Like, I'm so
also,
sorry.
if that was her initial idea, girl, that was not the one that landed.
Clearly, yeah. And even other things beyond that as well, where she tried to, paint Bang PD in a negative light. I'm sure there are things that he's done that are gray or even black in nature.
Mhm.
However, the things that she sort of brought out in her very emotional and dramatic press conference, which I lived for, where she was like, "Oh, he was like, I want to crush Espa." That's how you talk about competition.
Exactly.
Maybe it's a lot of and a lot of people did take umbrage to that, which I found strange. Maybe it's because I come from like a competitive media background where we that is how we talk. But
Exactly.
you want other people to you nobody's like ha sab bhaichara saath saath katte katte top number one pe jayenge. No,
Yeah.
everybody wants to be number one.
The thing is, she's very smart. Anyone who works in a professional or competitive space would understand it, but what she was trying to get is public opinion on her side, which she
Mm.
successfully got, is what I'm reading. Like, in what from what I'm getting is that Korean audiences are with her.
That
So,
is interesting. See, that's another indicator of what I feel is like very culture based things where it's like, not that I want to sound misogynistic, but if a woman goes up on stage and cries and says, "Ki, oh, I was targeted," you are going to have sympathy with that. You are
hmm,
going to say, "Oh, big bad men were out to get you," which is
hmm.
sort of the picture she's painted. It, but again, I do think there is a like grain of truth to that. I'm sure they did push her to do things or say things where she must have felt not happy.
Even, yeah, but the thing is, even if it wasn't as explicit, I think her point of Illit is that Illit is a very direct competitor of New Jeans, to her point where we might say that okay, the concept isn't copied, but it's a very similar vibe, which it's a trend that people hate to admit it, but New Jeans did start. And when you're in the same company, ideally you would want maybe something that's hitting a different segment. It's
Hmm.
kind
Fair.
of, to me it felt like how TXT and Hypen initially they had very separate um targeting during debut, and I think now it's kind of in a very similar boy group space, whatever. But with New Jeans and Illit, it feels like the Seraphim and New Jeans I feel conceptually were very different. But
Very,
Illit,
yeah. And
yeah.
still remain to this day very, very
Yeah,
different.
yeah, but I feel like Illet borders on something very similar. Whether it is her creative idea or not is not something I'm sure about, but just in terms of as a business owner, if my own company is starting a rival brand, I would be concerned about my longevity and how much they would be willing to invest in me as opposed to this other copy that they have more ownership over, they're making more money out of, as opposed to when Heejin direct ownership of NewJeans.
Oh, that's a really good point, Ash. I never considered the fact that it's about how much
Long term
control
thought.
that they would have over it as well.
Hmm.
Because at the end of the day, she is Adore CEO.
Yeah.
So she would have a bigger stake, I'm sure, in controlling what goes on with New Jeans. I didn't think
Hmm.
of it that way. Um, However, since then, there have been a lot of things about New Jeans suing Hybe
Hmm.
and potentially trying to get out from their contracts. Just for reference, I mean, in we talked about this at the beginning as well that 50, New Jeans may be going the same route as 50-50, where something similar, not to this magnitude at all, but something similar happened where 50-50 really took off with their immensely popular song Cupid. They had thousands of versions of it. They were also 50-50 also sang a song for the Barbie soundtrack, which was one of the biggest movies last year.
Yeah.
Um, so they were like really steadily growing and doing very well, but then had a fight. There was a lot of fight within the management itself.
Hmm.
That the producer felt like they had more ownership over the song versus the management feeling that they had ownership over the songs. And now, where is 50-50?
Hmm.
Motion.
You know what they did with 50-50, right? Though they removed all of them left, one of them stayed, then they got more people, and there is now a new 50-50. I don't know if they're already making music, like they've
Oh, is it
released
like
music.
Black Swan, where they
Yeah,
just keep
basically they've kept
cycling
one.
the?
Yeah, and there is a new 50-50.
That's so wow. Okay, so clearly that's insane.
Mm.
Um, but like you said, I think it's really interesting as well, where there are effectively children involved, like teenagers
Mm.
are involved in this, and they are the face of this thing. Like until
Hmm.
Min Heejin held that press conference, I had only seen her once before in one random IG story,
Mhm.
that, and like if you keep up with the group and not with the management aspect of it, then you don't really know anything about it, and it's unfair for New Jeans to have to face the brunt of this?
Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with how involved Minheejin has been with New Jeans as individuals and how she would like hang out with them. She's friends with their parents, so now the parents are supporting her, and a lot of it at this point is like she runs the show,
Hmm. Hmm.
and New Jeans are on her side because they are like they're trained to be, and she's
Not
created an
just that, right? Like
environment.
that's the perspective they're hearing most, and they also have a sense
Hmm.
of loyalty towards her.
Yeah, that's what I mean. She's created an environment where they're gonna stick to her, and maybe monetarily, or we don't know what happens inside the Hybe environment. Maybe it isn't beneficial for them to stay with Hybe. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know the breakup at all. I am also extremely curious as to what all we're no, of course, I mean, there's so much I'm sure that's going on behind doors we're not being told about, because
Hmm.
while Min Heejin did the whole emotional approach to it, I think
Hmm.
Hybe PR had a very different witch hunt aspect to it. So they there's a very
Hmm.
concentrated effort to put out only specific information which will
Yeah.
change public perception. However, I'm sure there's more being held back, and I'm so
Yeah.
curious about what's going on.
I think one fun thing that happened was that BT21, the Twitter account, posted a New Jeans Line Friends
Oh yeah,
collab.
yeah.
And that was a big controversy because why is BT21 posting about New Jeans? New Jeans'
Because
collab.
they're line friends.
Yeah, but like at this
Oh,
time, they're not in great. They're not in like. It's like I don't know. It's like Stray Kids posting about TXT's whatever. Like there's
maybe
a
not
sense of
Stray Kids, but like 17 posting about
no because
BTS.
no, because they're
They're at
still in
least
a
the same
good place.
company.
Same company, and like there's no controversy happening right now. Like right now, things are harsh, and like a lot of
Mhm.
Minheejin's conversation is also geared around like how she wants to take down BTS and like not take it down, but there is a animosity
Hoping
there,
for them to not perform as well.
which yeah, I don't know if that's the direction you want to go in, but from what I'm hearing at this point is that Minheejin is going to be removed from the Hybe um, board at some
Good.
point. And like while she has won the current, I don't know the legal dispute, but basically currently there's a stay order on it, so she can stay. But long term, I don't think Hype's gonna keep her. Even if they're gonna keep her, they're gonna edge her out, not give her decision making powers and things like that. What
And I'm
remains?
sure like she wouldn't want to stay because, and this was a question I think I asked very early on when this first broke out. How did they get access to her texts? Because they didn't just get her texts bad mouthing Hybe, they got her like shaman friend texts as well. So that's like deep.
Do you think she
So I'm
used
so
the company
curious.
phone?
She can't be that foolish, can she? She doesn't give that foolish.
And then also Belift sued Minheejin for defamation, and they released that video of like what copying looks like, and everyone's copied everyone. But with the new jeans comeback, there is one MV where it's like it's showing like there one of the members dies and all of that. It's all of that, and that is based off of what is that's based off of TLC basically, and people were very upset that she's kind of and literally like the scenes are the same as one of the TLC member who died, and it's like photos of her car crash and all. It's very similar.
Like
Then
TLC, the
no
American
scrubs,
brand?
yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, I have not seen this.
Okay, and then they found a Mexican, some Latino like group called Jeans, and they have very similar looks, outfits. I think they're from the 80s or the 90s. It's a lot of it is like literally feels like picked and placed, which is fine. I think whatever K-pop, and not just K-pop, a lot of art is like cyclical,
Regurgitative, yeah.
inspired,
Of
regurgitated.
course.
Yeah, and K-pop especially, I think it's a very core essence of K-pop to kind of pick up from a lot of other cultures and mix it up and revamp it and show it. So I don't think that's a bad thing, but as coming from someone who is claiming that they are copying her creative like IP, it's like it
Yeah,
wasn't
I
yours to
feel like you
begin with.
can't go after somebody for taking your original thought when your thought isn't original.
Yeah, yeah, basically. Like, oh, I called it New Jeans. Like, okay, get over it.
Yeah, especially since the Latinx group is called Jeans. Like if like literally is the same thing.
Yeah. I think what's gonna happen is they're gonna figure out a way to remove New Jeans, but they're gonna keep sorry, they're gonna figure out a way to remove Heejin, but they're gonna keep New Jeans because I'm assuming legally Hybe has power over that. Whether the New Jeans members continue with it or whether they try to get out of it, because I know they have to pay some like billions of dollars to get out of it.
More than anything else, it just feels like Heejin would also want to leave because how are you going to stay and have like a better life at this point? Um, you're right with New Jeans. I just feel like as a property, of course Hive would have control about keeping it because they are the parent company, but and they can't buy, I'm sure they've definitely not made enough money to buy themselves out of their contracts just yet. I'm sure the contract is a lot more stricter and things that they used to be back in the day, and there's also not been any evidence, not any major evidence of wrongdoing that they can sort
From
of
Hype's
claim in
part,
court.
yeah.
Yeah, that they can claim in court. I mean, not that we know of, at least.
Hmm.
I,
Like 50-50 had legitimate case of like abuse. And
yeah,
they didn't
harassment
pay them and
abuse.
all of that. Like New Jeans have been getting proudly getting paid since day one, and a lot of other things where treatment wasn't the issue. So you're right. Like where is the case?
Yeah, so I don't think they have a case as of the information that we have right now. They don't seem to have a case to be able to get out, which makes for like again, just if I was a New Jeans member, I'd be, and if I was that loyal and indebted to Minheejin, I'd be very uncomfortable with how things are going. And
Yeah.
especially if they were to bring in some other person to suddenly manage me at this point,
Hmm.
where we've established us, not established, but we are at a place where we are growing and we're fairly big.
And it's
um
very different. Like I don't think Hype can easily emulate what Minheejin was doing. Because look at Illit. It is not to say it's very generic. It's nothing. There's nothing that stands out. But with New Jeans, it stood out. It was different.
yeah, absolutely. Like how do you emulate somebody else's creative mind, which has worked so far?
Hmm.
And not to say that her creative mind works universally, because she's done other projects which have maybe not been as successful or as famous, but
That's not
New
true
Jeans
though.
clearly
Like a
took
lot of
off.
her projects were like Red Velvet. She did a lot of NCT stuff. Like
That's true.
that
You're right.
stuff. Like she's
You're right.
had a lot of
She has
success.
proven, yeah,
Yeah.
her creative merit. You're right. Sorry, yeah. I think I just keep going back to layover. And because I was unhappy with layover.
But like to her point where she didn't want that to be a successful thing or whatever. Like
Oh,
clearly
right.
she
Yeah, she
she
wanted
holds
them to like not do well.
yeah, she holds resentment in that space.
Man, she is smart and it worked. Layover was not good. Minhijin, the mind.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm more invested in what the future holds for New Jeans as opposed to Minhijin. That's it's interesting. It's interesting to talk about and delve into, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any stakes in where she goes, what she does. I'm okay. Whereas I am very interested in what New Jeans does next,
Mm-hmm.
because do they stay? Do they get regrouped? Do they disband? Like, does the company say, okay, you're too hard to work with if you're not working with Minheejin? They disband them, put them in different groups, and like re-debut the girls in other groups in the future. Like, what happens from here is my big question with New Jeans.
Mm. I agree. I think I don't see it personally going in a very great direction. I think if Minheejin leaves and Eugene stay, I don't think Hybe have the creative ability to mirror what has happened before. And I don't know if the girls would be that invested in it. So maybe at
Hmm.
some point they're just gonna wait out their contract. if somehow they figure out a way to leave and just stay with Heejin, I don't know whether they have the money and the backup, because a lot of, while NewJeans' creative direction was great, a lot of it was Hybe's money. So
Hmm.
without that, how good, or at what level is that going to be? We don't know. Personally, yeah, I don't. I think the era of NewJeans, in my opinion, is over. Their newest comeback is not doing what all their
What it had
previous
in the
comebacks
past.
were giving, and maybe this is the beginning of the end for them.
Sad, sad. I can't believe we literally just, not just, but we very recently did a fourth gen girl group deep dive, and they were sort of our number one group.
Yeah.
I remember very, like, go watch that video if you haven't. I remember very clearly you were like, they are the next Blackpink, because they were
Hmm.
that big at that point. So it's so sad to see them potentially lose out on a great future.
Speaking of Blackpink, sorry, segue. Do you remember? Did you see like what Jenny posted?
No,
Apparently,
what?
she's like releasing new music, and she released a clip where a lot of it is like low key, like subliminal hinting at YG being like trash to them, and it's very interesting.
Oh, okay, okay. I did see the clip and everything. I just didn't understand. I thought I couldn't tell if it was a part of like some, because she has an Adidas collab also happening at the same time. So I thought maybe it was something to do with that, and I just didn't pay attention. Whoa,
Okay.
wow! Everybody quick act surprised. YG was trash. Okay, tell us in the comments what you think is going to happen in the future of New Jeans. Are they going to survive and thrive through this? Are they maybe not going to do as well? But you want it to. You want it. We want. I need another hype boy. Like, I feel like that song is too iconic for it to just like die out like this. We will
Mm.
be back in exactly 2 weeks with a brand new episode. In the meanwhile, you can go back and watch all our other videos, and especially the ones that we're doing for the Korean government. Go look at those, please. Thank you. I was Zara.
And I was Sophia. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.